All right, guys. Well, it's been a couple of weeks since I've been back out here on any kind of trails. The last video that I put together was outside of LA, and hell, I'm still in the middle of editing that, so it's been about 2.5 weeks. I got very sick after that, like that night, and ended up having to finish out the tour extremely ill, and that kind of sucked because I ended up going through. We did Red Rocks. I missed out on all of that and all the amazing trails and all the nature out there. Ended up doing Rocklahoma. Missed out on a good portion of that. Yeah, getting sick sucks when you're on the road. But here we are. We're back at it again. The unfortunate part about getting sick when you're on the road, especially when you like doing this kind of stuff too, one, you're not gonna be able to do this. When I say I was sick, guys, I was Dayquilling and NyQuilling every day for what seemed like a couple weeks. Couldn't breathe, coughing all over the place. Stayed away from all my colleagues and all the folks on the production staff because I just really didn't want to get them sick. So, I was kind of by myself for most of the time. And thankfully, I work with a good team of guys. They really had my back, but I refused to give in and, not do my part of the job. I was assigned to do certain things, and damn it, I'm going to get out there and do it. I mean, I got to do it away from everybody. But the job got done. That tour ended, and we're getting ready to, a couple of the guys split off and went on to other tours now, and I got all my stuff done, and my folks I'm just giving you an idea where I'm at. I'm just north of Nashville, Tennessee, at Bledsoe State Park, doing one of their trails out here. It is freaking amazing. I love it. But I was able to finish up my job in the last tour, kick off this next tour. My folks are over at rehearsals right now. I didn't need to be there. So here we are trying to get back on track. Being as sick as I was, the one thing that you get massive detrimental things that happen when you get sick like that, when you're trying to take care of your health. First thing I noticed is I lost a lot of muscle mass and gained a lot of weight at the same time. I weighed myself this morning. I'm about 15 pounds over where I should be at. And that's all body fat. And I can absolutely feel it. I can tell by the way I feel when I'm moving around. So that just means I got to really jump into this thing. So like I told you guys in the first video, which will be released on YouTube before this one here, and then I'll release this one shortly after. I do it for physical strength and endurance, but I also do it for my mental health, peace of mind, all that stuff. I'm able to clear a lot of things because I go out here and I hike like this. What do we got going on up here? All right, let me see what's going on with this trail. We'll get right back to you. So I figured I'd give you guys a bit of a view of what I get to see while I'm walking these trails today. Bledsoe State Park, just north of Nashville, Tennessee. So the thing I want to talk about today was everything in life is temporary, including life itself. It's one of them things that, again, you go through pain, you go through struggle, you go through heartache, you go through abuse, you go through all the traumas of life, some rather normal, some not so much. Eventually you have to learn to make peace with it all. Okay? One of the ways I've made peace with things in my life is that everything in my life is temporary. Everything. Doesn't matter whether it's, a lot of people who know me know about the company that I built. It was very successful, and we did very well by it and lived a wonderful life because of it. Everything related to that company and that lifestyle has changed because it's all temporary. I could have ran that company for another 10 years if I wanted to, and didn't see the point in doing it. Without a purpose, men often are without
progress 7%, duration 10 minutes, distance 0.40 miles, pace 25 minutes 15 seconds per mile, voice coach disabled. Go premium to get feedback during the training.
Thank you for that. But anyway, you know, if a man doesn't have a purpose in his life, he can't find his purpose. You know, at least in my particular case, I didn't have a purpose for running that business anymore. You know, couldn't even figure out what my purpose was. I was a husband and a father, and that all went away. So there was no point in continuing to bust my hump and go out there endlessly doing what I did, running that company. So I simply shut the doors. Okay? It's very hard to figure out what it is that, you know, when you have an initial purpose built, it's hard to accept the fact that that may change. So now I do something a little bit different. Okay? My relationships, they change, you know. Where I was 4 years ago compared to where I'm at now is drastically different. I have rekindled relationships with certain family members. Me and my little brother are very close because we have gone through very similar changes in our lives, and we coach each other as to how we need to navigate through all of this. You know, everything changes. Everything is temporary. So likewise, one of the things that are very temporary are your emotions and your feelings. And I have stressed this to many, many men that I have spoken to over the last few years, that look, you know, any feelings that you have right now, those are going to change. Sometimes they change within seconds or even minutes. Sometimes they change over a long period of time. But rest assured, whatever way you're feeling about something right now, it's probably going to change. That's why I don't get too caught up, and I try to tell guys, like, look, don't get too caught up in your emotions about things. Look at it from a factually based point of view, knowing that at any given time, that situation may change, and your feelings are going to change because of it. Or you're going to grow and you're going to mature, and your feelings or your emotions are going to change about that particular subject. It certainly happened that way for me. God, guys, I feel like I'm just like winded out here doing this. Just so not used to feeling like that. And kids down here playing in the creek. It's pretty cool. Got a little creek running next to us here. Pretty scenic. It's nice down through here. Never done this one before. Wanted to do it for a long time and haven't had a chance to. Good afternoon. How are you?
Very good.
Good. Oh, this thing's cool. Look at this. I decided to take this little path down here. It does dead end out, but it runs along the creek. So I thought it was nice. It's pretty peaceful down through here. And again, it's one of them things that I kind of promote to people, not just guys and girls. You go through some changes in your life, man. First thing you need to do after you start working on yourself and working on the issues is find your way to gather some peace in your life. For me, hiking did that. It gets me away from people, gets me away from the drama. I can think through things. I can, you know, get involved in that self-talk and really sit here and start working on things. That is awesome. It's a nice, slow-moving creek. It's little things like this. It doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, but to me, to be able to get out there, get something done, you know, put in a little bit of work. Oh, look at this. You got this little scenic thing down here. You can go look over the creek, and then we'll go this way here. Pretty awesome. But yeah, it's kind of senseless little things that a lot of people don't understand when I get out here and do this. Like, well, I don't get it, man. Like, so you're going out and spend this money and buying these hiking shoes and, you know, special equipment to go out and get this done. Guys, I've just gotten into this. Okay, the hiking aspect, I've been doing this now for several years. You go back on my Facebook and you can see it. I am actually on a bike path right now. I jumped off the actual hiking path just to go down here and see what this one looks like, and I'll turn around and double back and get back on the path. but I've got all day. I don't have nothing going on. I really don't. I mean, so may as well go enjoy it, you know. You can hear there's a lot of families out here right now doing the same type of stuff. You know, dad's out here with their kids, mom's out here with their kids. I didn't see a whole lot of families out, you know, in general, but I mean, I guess you can call it a family. But I get the sneaking suspicion that it's becoming more and more popular. Oh, look at that, that's cool. I get the sneaking suspicion that it's becoming more and more popular amongst people who have broken homes or broken families, you know. They're just trying to get back out to nature, trying to do something a little bit different. Something they don't, you know, I don't come from this, you know. It's something I discovered completely by accident, and it's just kind of grown into this thing. But it's good fucking therapy for me. Like I said, I mean, if you go back and you look at my social media a year ago, I was in optimum health. I mean, I had cut my body fat down and increased my muscle mass, and all it took this time around was about 2.5 weeks of being really, really sick. So before the holidays come around, I am determined to sit here and push myself to get back to where I need to be, because all that good eating is going to eventually come around. I mean, I'm going to be very busy. Make no bones about it. I explained it to my children and their mom that I'm going to be out for the better part of this year and on in the next year. I've had some really cool opportunities that have been presented to me. Met the right people who like me as much as I like them and respect me as much as I respect them. And they've asked me to do some things, and it's going to keep me very busy. But that's what I need, and they understood that. Those folks really took time to get to know me and understand what my story was, and were like, yo, man. Several people that were very influential from that last tour on the production side really stepped up for me, like, yo, man, we're going to keep you busy, man, because you need it. And you're good at what you do. So I appreciate them. I appreciate the friendships that I've cultivated through that last tour. It's been really, really good for me. It's kind of cool. You go off trail and you start walking. These are all out there with their fishing boats and stuff. Got their early morning fishing in. I'm gonna walk you out here on a dock. So this is the kind of cool stuff you get to discover. I mean, like I said, I don't come from this. I don't come from the outdoorsy kind of world. It's all stuff I discovered along the way. My little journey of trying to heal and get back to living, I guess. You know, again, going back to my point about everything being temporary. One of the things I had to realize, you know, when you go through a certain amount of loss in your life, one, it's extremely painful. And two, you really start to, hold on one second here, there we go. You really start to appreciate all the little things that happen in life and all the memories you're able to create, all of the things you're able to be involved in, all of the experiences you're able to have. And for me, like, this is kind of special. I mean, people are like, oh, you just said a state park, dude, like, big deal. No, like, again, I don't come from this, and this is how I've discovered peace in my life. That little dude out there fishing away, him and his kid. Pretty awesome. All right, so the Birdsong Trail. Yeah, so that's the exit of the trail that leads out to the boat ramp out there and the dock I was just on. And basically we're just doubling back where we just came from, and then I'll get back on the original trail I was on. So yeah, guys, you have to accept the fact that everything in life is temporary. Everything. You know, it goes back to, like, you know, these are little discoveries I've made, you know, over the last couple of years as I've, you know, tried to heal myself from everything that's happened. You know, it's extremely important as you get older and changes occur through your life. You understand why this stuff happens. Okay? I'm not talking about blaming people and blaming it. Look, I'm beyond all that shit. Okay? I've gone through everything I've gone through. Everybody is fully aware, including all those involved. well aware of why everything happened the way it did. Okay? But eventually, you need to learn to move on. And part of learning on how to move on is understanding that you just can't have the expectation that everything's going to last forever. And that's in everything. Your job, your relationships, the way you feel about shit. It's all going to change. It will never be the same forever. I was foolish enough to believe in the whole fairy tale concept of, oh, I'm going to be with this person forever. We're going to, be together until, we die. Because that's what I wanted. I believed it could happen. Do I believe now that that something like that still can't happen? Sure, I believe in the fact that, you can have a long-term committed relationship that can be until death. But I do understand now that for me, that wasn't meant to happen with that particular relationship. And that particular relationship was an opportunity to learn from. It was a group of lessons that God sent to me to learn. And every time that I tried to change that up, he was going to teach me more and more and more. Nope, this is what you're supposed to learn from this. So, in the course of that journey in my life, that particular chapter in my life, I had to learn that everything is temporary. It's the reason why I don't get overly emotional, as I was saying earlier in the video. There's no point in it. Why get so upset about something knowing darn well that it can change? The way I'm going to feel is ultimately going to change. I look at my feelings for exactly what they are. They are a temporary reaction to a situation that I am going through at that moment. And the key is at that moment. It's going to change. It will never stay the same forever. So why sit there and hang on to, feelings of anger or rage or sadness or depression, or fill myself full of anxiety wondering what's going to happen next? I'm not in control of that. I can do things that influence the way that things go, but I can't be the ultimate determining factor of the way things go in my life. So I don't normally take breaks on my hikes, but I think it's, when I'm doing things to submit online for videos and stuff, it's good just to take a break and stop and, gather your thoughts and put them out there. So, again, in regards to this whole idea of everything in life is temporary, when you think about the most painful things that you've gone through, understand that pain, that feeling of anguish or heartbreak or anything else, it's always only temporary, okay? I've had family members die, people that I was very close with, they passed away, friends that have passed away, or even worse yet, those that have self-deleted. In my younger years, I'd lost jobs or changed careers, And when you get into those relationships and those jobs and those careers and just anything in your life, you never really consider the long term. Like the long term is, I'm going to build my future around this relationship or this career or whatever else, and this is where I see it going from there. But what you don't plan on is at any given time, at the snap of a finger, can all just kind of end. I have changed the way that I look at a lot of things now because of all the lessons that I've learned, over the last few years. And one of the things that I've realized is I don't get too emotionally attached to anything anymore. And it even when it comes to even relationships. Key number one, guys, if you're going to go out here and hit the trails up and you're going to go hike around, bring a bottle of water. Don't be stupid. I don't get too emotionally attached to very much of anything anymore, because I've realized that there are certain aspects of things that are going on in your life that you have zero control over. I have had the court system that was involved in our particular case in my last relationship in reference to my children. When you think about it, there is a single man not related to me, never met my ex, never met my children, really has no vested interest in what happens to us. He helped to make legal decisions as to what was going to happen that forever changed the course of everybody's life. And the worst part about it is it changed the course of my life for my children. Now, initially, I was angry about it. I was upset about it. I would get depressed about it, this, that, and whatever. But one of the things that I rely on, and some people don't agree with it because they just don't have this in them, I rely on my faith. God will fight the battles that I can't handle. Anything that I can handle, I take care of, and anything beyond that, I rely on my faith in my Creator to make sure that He takes care of for me. And it has always worked out very well that way. People used to sit there and tell me when I built businesses and stuff, oh, well, it must be nice, or, oh, you're so lucky. It's never been luck. It's never been a case of it's so nice, because in a lot of ways, it's been a lot of hard work. I've just had the right opportunities present themselves to me, and I consider the fact that each one of those opportunities were a blessing from up above. It had very little to do with me. And I feel that way even to this day when it comes to relationships and the direction my life has gone in. There was a point not very long ago, a year ago or so, that I was in a really bad place. Mentally, emotionally, even physically. Well, physically, I was probably in very good shape because I was taking all the aggression and all the anger and the frustration and the sadness and depression and everything else out of my own body. But things change. Everything is temporary. So remember that if you're going through changes in your life, just understand that it's not going to be like that forever. And a lot of that has to do with you. If your attitude is this glum, ho-hum, super depressive, oh, woe is me, my life sucks, this just really negative attitude, understand, it makes it that much harder for your life to change and go in a positive direction. I've had to just sort of swallow my pride and suck it up in a lot of cases when it came to a lot of things in my life in order for me to be able to have the attitude I have now. I make no bones about it to the people that are closest to me and the people that listen to me and follow me and stuff. I tell them, like, everything that I loved is gone, because it's true. The material stuff, the money, all that stuff, I realized after this was all done, it didn't matter. And I've made a lot of changes to even forego a lot of that stuff. All the years that I just hustled. It was all about money, and creating this lifestyle and everything. There's no need for it, because my family, the thing that I loved, my purpose for my drive, is now gone. So I don't need any of that stuff anymore. I've simplified a lot of aspects of my life. When I invest back into myself, it's into doing stuff like this. Things that are contributing to the forward progress of my mental health, my confidence, my ability to move forward in life and keep doing things that are good for me. That's how I invest back into myself now. It's no longer a case of, making myself feel good because I can provide for my family at a different level. I'm not able to do that anymore because my family has been stripped away from me. And I say that now, probably for the first time in a long, long time. I can do it without, shedding tears when I say so. But when you're put in a situation where what my purpose was to be a husband, a good husband, and be a good father to my children, and that's taken away. So that's why I tell people everything I loved is gone. That's what it is. It's my purpose is now gone. So you have to find other ways to navigate through life. You have to find new goals, new things to do with yourself in your off time. And that's what I'm doing here when I do this. So I figured I'd share this one with you guys here real quick. It's a little scenic thing they built out here. Little tiny deck. Take you back out here towards the lake, pond, whatever you want to call it, body of water. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. This is not a lake at all, but okay, we'll just call it a lake, right? Let's see. He knows how to get to her, Papa.
Yep, he knows. That's a pretty big turtle.
Oh, look at that.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a couple. Look at all of them out there. There's a whole bunch of them. Wow. I can't say I've ever seen anything like that before. That many turtles in one little area.
The creek by our house, there's quite a few, but they're not that big. They're probably about this size of it.
Yeah, this is a
I've
pretty
had
large.
one come, I don't know where he came from, in the corner of my garage.
Really?
And I typically don't leave the garage door open or anything, but it was right at a quarter, good sized one in the corner of my garage. 3 of them.
Angel, shine. Angel, look at
And
the
there's
shine.
a big one coming up.
That was big one.
Turtle, big turtle.
What's a big turtle? That was a bear. Angel, do you know there's one right down there? Daddy, do you want to come see
Good.
the turtle?
Yeah, it's always cool to see neat little stuff like that. But anyway, again, everything in life is temporary. Okay, based on that, I mean, there's only so many plans you're going to make in life, and that stuff is all subject to change. Why get too terribly upset or bent out of shape when things change when you know it's all going to be temporary anyway, right? We put our hearts and our minds and our emotions into certain things. We invest ourselves into certain people or situations, knowing that historically that stuff always changes anyway. I guess the best thing I can say to that is just be careful, okay? You do have to have, you can't run through life recklessly, you know. I've certainly seen plenty of people that I've come across in my lifetime, people that I've been involved with in relationships who take on that silly concept and they end up wrecking their lives. Yeah, you gotta have a little bit of a plan. Gotta have something going on. But you also can't be surprised when things change up on you. It's gonna happen. So the way I plan consistency in my life is through things like this, okay? When I get the free time, I know already, you know, as long as I'm, like right now, back on the road back to health, you have to be able to plan and saying, okay, well, in my free time, I want to take care of my body and my mind. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to hit the trails. That's what I do. This is probably a good point here to, I'm going to change the subject just a little bit, but one of the things that I've noticed, you know, as I started hiking was, see, you got to take a look at that. When you're urban hiking or even like your country hiking, you're just going down, you know, 2-lane roads or gravel roads, all that stuff. You get onto a trail, it's a different thing. Your pace is a little bit slower, unless you're one of them young, rubbery drag racing types who doesn't want to appreciate what, you know, what's surrounding you. I'm not. I take it slow, I get the exercise, but I like to enjoy everything around me. I like to take it all in. It's what gives me my peace, okay? You have to be very careful though on these trails because you're gonna run across large stones, big roots that jut up out of the ground, and it's a reason why a lot of people, you'll hear them say, like, I had to come off the trail. When you're doing long hikes, long through hikes, okay, something like that can take you out because you will simply not be paying attention. You will trip over that thing and you're done. Next thing you know, you have a sprained ankle, broken ankle, it's not going to heal on time, and you're going to be sitting around somewhere wondering what happened. So you got to take the time. That's why, you know, when I've I've never explained to anybody on the outside, except some close friends and some colleagues, and especially people that are really close to my family, my younger brother and my oldest son, you know, my plans for what I plan on doing with this hiking thing. And it's a long, extensive through hike that I'm going to do. And I'm destined to do it, you know. I'm determined to do it, rather. But mine is not going to be the typical through hike that guys and some ladies do on that particular trail, because these people are drag racing their asses off. They get freaking injured. They don't remember much other than partying on the fucking trail, and they're killing themselves doing it. I'd rather take it all in, even if it takes a long period of time. It doesn't bother me. Look at that. And again, I didn't come up from any of this kind of stuff, so I take all this in. I learn to appreciate it all. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. And some common courtesy like that. Doesn't take a whole lot to tell somebody, hey, how are you? You know, wishing them a good afternoon or something like that. You know what I mean? This is stuff we were raised with. People get caught up in all their BS now. Living their best life. Yeah. Until you realize it can all be taken away, or it can all just go away like that. And then what? People get their souls crushed by it. See, again, you hear that? Just the quietness. All the stuff that I can take in. Something as silly as this. Here, look. Just go out on the dock. Where I grew up, we didn't have stuff like this. Now, would I jump into this? Hell yeah, if it were legal. But it's not, because you're at a state park. So you can't just go jumping in and swimming off here, but you can dock your little boat up here if you want to, I guess. And based on that video you guys saw me take, there are a lot of fucking big ass turtles in here. And it will chomp your toes off for you. But again, super cool. I love it. This is my piece. This is what I go after. A lot of people I know were fortunate enough, they were able to grow up around this kind of stuff. They had some really good country living, and they, you know, lived out near a riverbank or something, and they were able to experience this. Oh, it would be amazing. And that's why, you know, I've changed every aspect of my life and decided to do things differently now. You know, because I'm on the tail end of my life now. I don't sit there and try to BS myself about it. I'm beyond the midlife thing and all that. According to my doctors, I got a good 30, 35, maybe 40 years left. I'm going to enjoy it now. I will not live my life in pain and anguish and anxiety. Nah. Let me go up here real quick. So I had to stop a state forest ranger for something simple request. Use the bathroom, right? You come out here, don't be an animal, you know. He's like, you gotta go real bad? I'm like, yeah. You know, number one. He's like, just go up that gravel trail up there. He's like, you're about 200 yards from a bathhouse. Perfect. You don't gotta change who you are because your surroundings change or because your situation changes. You know, nothing like that. Be a good fucking human. I'm way off the trail now, and there's a bathhouse over there, so. But again, be respectable. Be a respectful person to, you know, the idea that you're able to experience this stuff. You know, there's people camping all around here, families out here and stuff, you know. And I've seen plenty of guys watching these hiking videos and stuff just clearly do not appreciate the opportunities that are being given to them by being able to enjoy this kind of thing that most people will never get to see. And mine is very small scale, you know, it is. But this is what I do. Again, I keep repeating to people, this is what I do to gain peace in my life. I mean, to me, it's incredible because I didn't grow up around it. I never knew much about it. Maybe as a kid, I was in the Scouts and stuff like that. And looking back, I had a great time. But it's a different thing now. I mean, I chase after this now. And I love it. I mean, it's phenomenal to me. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. Thank you.
I can't beat that.
So one of the cool things that I found out about this place here is they not only have campsites set up with electrical and stuff for trailers and RVs and stuff, but they do have primitive camping here. So you can see there's tents and stuff. I think they got like 8 or 10 primitive sites here, which is really kind of cool because my truck is literally parked like 3 miles down the road. So that means if I want to, I can grab my pack, tent, sleeping gear, all that stuff and just come on out. You know, so I don't know that I'm coming back through here for quite a while now because I'm getting ready to jump back out on tour, but I mean, again, here we are. This is a primitive site right here. You can see it's got a table, it's got a fire pit, room for your tents or whatever, your hammocks, whatever. There's some people down there got hammock camping. So that's not right. Probably need to clean that up. But either way, super cool. And then there's electrical hookups and stuff for trailers and everything over there. So again, just one of those things that I accidentally fell into. People think it's crazy, and it's like, try it. Try it. Is it a cheap hobby? No, it's not. Hey, puppy. How are you? Good, thank you. These big old roots sticking out of the ground there, waiting for something to trip on. We got a guy flying down here in his bass boat. I can hear him. Let's see if we can get him. Oh man, out there fishing. I was there thinking to myself, look at all these people camping and stuff, and like to me, I don't know. My idea is just to relax, chill out. You know, some of these people take it to a different level and they party and just, you know, everything's about fucking partying and celebrating. Like, what the hell are you celebrating, man? You can celebrate anything. Be happy you're alive. Be happy you're able to do it. So many people right now, they're financially wrecked, and you know, they thought they had the right idea, they had the right plan. Again, it goes back to the whole idea of everything being temporary, subject to change. People aren't ready for it. I've been destroyed by that idea. You know, I can admit it now, like, you know, just not being prepared for the idea of things are just going to change up on you and we're not ready for it. Got family out here fishing, pretty cool. Uh-oh, Dad's ready to go do some fishing with the Barbie fishing pole, right? There you go. That's cool to me. It's the fact they're willing to take their family out and enjoy all that. Pretty awesome. This is pretty cool here too. You can see where all the runoff from the river has washed all this stuff away at one point. You got steps going up that way. You can go up this way here. I don't know which way I'm gonna go. I guess I'll go this way for now. Try to follow this around. Let's see. So, that's pretty cool here. I think it's a little kid out here walking by himself or herself. I don't know how I feel about that, but this is where you need to be able to read the paths and understand where they're at, where these trails are at. It's gonna be really confusing if you don't keep your eyes open. You wake up lost. What are you doing, puppy? Oh, you're excited to be out here. So there's a trail down there. This is one of the things that, you know, you go out here, you think you know what the hell you're doing. You have to learn this stuff. You have to be able to learn to read where your paths are. Me, I might cheat a little bit. I got an app that tells me exactly where my path is. Because the last thing I want to do is get turned around and get stuck somewhere and not know where the hell I'm at. And part of the reason why you need to learn how to read where the paths are at and look over this stuff before you get out there, do a little bit of pre-planning so you can get yourself back out. So you can go this way. So the logs are just happen to be laid perfectly. But yeah, so it's been an interesting thing for me to learn how to do stuff like this too. It's a good distraction. You see what I'm saying? See all the roots? They look like sticks, right? You trip on that stuff, you're done. Yeah. Like I was saying, you know, all the stuff that I had to do to study and learn about this whole hiking thing, you know, one of the first things I had to learn after about 2 years of just walking my butt off all the time, like Forrest Gump, was the right shoes. Those are particular ones that I wear. I mean, it's got good toe coverage on it, so I don't kill myself out here. I wear the right socks, that's always important. But the rest of me, pretty easy stuff. T-shirt, comfortable pair of shorts. Let's sit down here and take a break for a minute. Look at this. Look at that wind. Whew. Like I said, peace. I love it. One of the things I explain to certain guys that I speak to on a pretty regular basis is there's gonna be aspects of the pain in your life that isn't going to change too radically, too quickly. Things go away, or they seem to temper down a bit as you sort of work through them, but that's kind of the thing that people forget. Like, this stuff doesn't just go away because you're like, oh, I'm gonna forget about it, I'm gonna compartmentalize this stuff. You go ahead and compartmentalize shit like most men do and understand. When it's things that have absolutely decimated you and turned your life upside down, you compartmentalize that shit, it will catch up to you. And how's it going to catch up to you? Well, if it's something related to a breakup or a divorce or the end of an intimate relationship, if you make the mistake, you make the poor choice of getting into another relationship and you haven't resolved those issues from the previous relationship, it will come back and haunt you and your partner in your next relationship. That's part of the reason why. Like, I mean, I tell people all the time, like, yeah, you know, I'm absolutely out here and got my eyes open for the person that I will spend the rest of my life with, but I'm not in a hurry. I would never want to get in a relationship and not have worked and begun resolving all the issues from the past. Same thing goes for other dramatic changes that have occurred in your life. You can't compartmentalize all this shit. It's what we were taught when we were, you know, growing up and you know, becoming men. Oh, you know, you just be tough about it, suck it up. Well, you can. I mean, I did it for many, many, many years and it caught up to me. There's only so much room you have in your head to be able to just hold that shit back. So it didn't matter whether it was the death of my father many, many, many years ago that I held on to for about 2 decades, and it just tortured me because of the lack of relationship I had with him in the end. Or even, you know, the absolute destruction of my previous relationship with my youngest children's mom. You know, I've been blessed enough to realize and learn, take in the information that taught me that, hey, you've got to work through this stuff. You got to recognize the feelings that come along with everything that happened, understand why you feel that way, and begin working through all that stuff so then you can then turn around and just let it go. I don't tell anybody, like, look, if you have great memories with that person, you can hang on to that stuff. I mean, because you were a part of that too, and it's something worth celebrating, and they were good times in your life. You shouldn't turn your back on things that were good. But when it comes to things that hurt you, or things that, you know, help destroy a relationship, or, you know, characteristics about a person that changed that you don't like, that's fine, but just work through it. So this way you can let it go, and you can let it go in a healthy way. like I said, even when I'm out here on the trail, okay, me talking to the camera like I'm talking to you right now is nothing more than it's a glamorized version of self-talk. These are all conversations that I've had with myself in my head as I've been out on the trail. Like, how do I work through all this stuff? Like, you know, how do I work through this so that way for the rest of my life I'm not walking around being a bitter old man, angry at the world about everything that happened, because the world didn't do this to me. There was a person in my life that made certain choices that went against everything that we had ever agreed on, and I had to figure out, okay, when it all came tumbling down, how do you get back on your feet and work through this stuff? Well, it took a lot of really radical changes in my life. It took a lot of changes in the way that I thought about things. A lot of it was in line with the way I already thought anyway. You will go through pain. You will go through heartache. You will absolutely, you know, there's going to be a lot of hard days. You don't have to stay there, though. You don't. You can simply just get up like this. Look at that. And you can keep it moving. Okay? You can climb those damn stairs. Get back on your path and get moving again. I don't give advice to anybody. I'm not one who can give advice because I haven't been the best at figuring out my own life. It took a long journey of, I look back at it now and I tell people mistakenly, because I just got locked into a position where I would tell people, oh, it's been 4 years. Guys, it's been over 5 years now that I've gone through this stuff, and all the most recent, most painful changes took place in the last year. I can't tell you how to fix it all. Okay? I'm not an expert. I'm only an expert in my own life and watching it get destroyed and then trying to rebuild from it. That's what I'm an expert in. I'm not a relationship coach. I'm not a therapist. I'm not any kind of a clinician in any way. I'm just a guy. I'm a guy who really simplified his life down to the point now where, you know, I drive a truck, and specifically I tour with bands. Okay, that's the exciting part of my life to the outside world. This is the exciting part of my life to me. Being able to see some of this crazy stuff. Look at that cavern down there. Pretty neat. Working through all my pain. Working through all this stuff that would normally hold a lot of people back. Working through the stuff that held me back.
You have reached 50% of your goal.
50% of my goal. Hooray. I always seem to be at 50% of my goal. I always seem to set my goals super, super high and have rather incredible results because I make these goals so lofty and so outrageous. Like, you're not really going to hit this stuff. But along the way, because your goals are so much higher than everybody else's, they're so unrealistic. You know, they're so incredible. The results you get are much better than those of the average person who says, oh, I just want to do this. Oh, no. Like I said, I've simplified my life in so many ways. It helped me get through the pain of what I was going through. And it helped me to put some kind of focus and direction back in my life again. Give me a purpose. But the goals that I have set for myself, I mean, initially, even those closest to me thought I was crazy. They're like, you're going to do what? And again, one of the things I've realized is there are certain things that I don't talk about. I may hint to. Some people have figured out. People close to me, I've went ahead and talked to them about that. A couple friends, colleagues, family members. But that's because I knew I would get support in telling them. Okay? It's so funny because I communicate with a lot of guys who are in a similar situation as me. They're divorced. The kids are gone. All this stuff. And when I tell them what the goal that I've set for myself, they look at me like, yeah, man, yeah. I totally know what you're talking about. I looked into that. I've got a guy who's a colleague of mine. I'll just say, I call him Chef. Okay, good guy. Straight up, just good guy. And he's been through everything that I've been through. many years ago. And the first day I met him, we had this conversation. I don't know why. I was just inclined to tell him about, what I planned on doing. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, he was super excited. And he's told me like, I wanted to do that and, all this. And he's made comments before. Like, he was super supportive today. He was like, hey man, where you going today? And I told him, and I was like, if I'm not back, man, I was like, send the cavalry. He's like, where are you going again? Because he was like genuinely concerned. Like, oh, be careful, man, because you haven't been out in a couple weeks. You haven't done this in a couple weeks. It's good people like that. Okay. When he found out what I wanted to do and what one of my loftier goals are, he's all for it. But it also, having that lofty goal and doing it in the way that I want to do it, like I said, I'm not going to speak about it in detail because I think it's good to, have certain goals that nobody knows about until after you've accomplished them or after you're in the midst of it. He was all for it. He's like, damn, man, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I've talked to other guys, older guys, the same way, because they've all had the same thought. Like, I wish I could do this. Well, doing that requires you to be able to check out at any given time. Have all your ducks in a row and be able to step out and say, okay, I'm doing this one, and this one's for me. And that's what I intend on doing when it comes to that. So, set your goals high. Do something a little crazy once in a while. As long as it's not going to... Well, okay. As long as you think it's not going to kill you, then do it. You only have so much time. Like I said, everything in life is temporary, including your life. I take great enjoyment and find great peace in this, in what I'm doing. And that's why I do it over and over and over again. Challenge myself to longer and longer and longer hikes. I love being out here. My ex found out I was doing this. She hates hiking and she doesn't understand it. But then she found out what I was doing and she saw the changes that I was going through. And all of a sudden, for at least that brief moment, she admired what I was doing and she said so. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what that means coming from an ex. But I'm the first guy that she's appreciated who actually does this. I'm not out here trying to be G.I. Joe with a rucksack on my back and trying to live old memories of the fucking military or anything like that. I do this for my health. I do this for my mental health. I do this with other goals in mind. I do this to capture the beauty of what's out here that most people don't get to see. It's like most of my life at this point. Most of my life has turned into a thing of how much can I capture that most people don't ever get to see, don't ever get to witness, don't ever get to experience. And this is part of it. Like I said, a lot of the people that are out here aren't paying attention to what's going on around them out here. They're just drag racing through this thing, or they're too busy talking or BSing. The whole time, you see, when I'm talking to you, my head's on a swivel because I want to capture all of it. And I just stop the video as soon as I see something cool. So that's really where my life is at anymore. How much can I take in above and beyond what other people are able to take in? How much of this life can I enjoy? What is there to experience that I haven't yet experienced? Why? Because in a person making the choice of destroying everything that I helped to build and everything that I loved and coveted, when she did that, she also gave me ultimate freedom. It's one of the things I try to explain to guys. Like, look, stop complaining about having to pay child support. Anything that you're paying in terms of child support, I don't care who you are, trust and believe that when you were together as a family, it was a lot more expensive than what you're putting out now. And regardless of what you've lost, because I've explained to you guys what I've lost, just check off the box and say fucking everything. Okay? Because the material shit and the money don't matter. You have to figure out how you're going to rebuild. You have to figure out, what do I want out of my life now? You have to figure out how you're going to get some kind of quality, some kind of peace, and understand when that person turned around and took all that from you and destroyed it all, everything that you dreamed about, everything you took pride in, It will piss them off when you turn around and say, thank you. You gave me freedom. All right, guys, so we're on a descent now. So far, we've done just over 3 miles on this trail. I don't think this trail is much more than 5 miles total. It kind of goes in a big, like, oval, and it follows the river. You can see that's a little bit of a drop there, but not too bad. A bit of an incline up that way too. But this is Tennessee, this is the mountains. And this isn't too bad out here. So when people sit there, you know, again, if you're watching this video and you wonder, so, well, what's the point of this? Like, man, why are you doing this, man? Because somebody close to me, well, a couple of guys close to me sat there and told me, like, look, man, you do all your live feeds and stuff on Facebook. What you need to do now is start talking about, you know, how you've advanced from talking about those problems in your relationship, and, you know, you've discovered this hiking thing, and you do all that self-talk now and try to improve upon your life. You know, why don't you talk about that? Why don't you start filming your hikes and talking about the things that go on in your head and how you work through it? Because it seems to be a healthy thing. Because those same guys have come back to me and, you know, looked for wise counsel. This is kind of cool here. Got a bunch of steps we're gonna have to climb. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Tired already.
Tired. You got a little ways to go. So you can see this incline is pretty steep. All steps made out of railroad ties. This will wear you out. And that's good for you. Good exercise. That lady was tired going downhill. Holy crap, try going up. Whew. Yeah, it's a long climb. It's a steep climb. And a lot of people at this point would be like, yeah, screw this. You know, if that's what hiking's all about, yeah, kind of screw this. And I can look back at it and say there's been times in my life, even recently, that I've been more uncomfortable than that shit. There ain't nothing but a climb up the side of a mountain. I didn't die from it. Heart might be beating a little bit. I'm breathing a little heavy, but I feel good. That's the kicker behind it all. I feel good. The things that made me uncomfortable in the past, there was nothing to feel good about from that. I saw that older lady coming down. As I'm coming up the hill, I'm heaving. She made it down that thing. She's all right. Why the hell am I, probably 30 years younger than her, why can I not make it up? Again, I'm out here to test myself, to learn things about myself, give myself answers to questions that I have that are bothering me. Take on the peace that's all around me. Experience the beauty that the world has to offer that most people don't get to see. To work through shit. The goal is to become whole again after all the shit you go through as a guy or a girl. You know, again, I can't offer counsel to women because I'm not a woman. I can only imagine what it's like to be a woman. Actually, I don't even want to imagine what it's like to be a woman. I'm fine being a guy. So when I offer counsel to men, I tell them based off my beliefs and what I do for a living. You know, again, I model myself after my grandfathers, my great-grandfathers who lived during a harder time and were able to produce. So in my world, there are no excuses. There are no excuses for why I can't get through life, or, you know, why my life has to be filled with so much suffering. My grandfathers, my great-grandfathers did that, you know, so my father could be here and then I could be here. They did all the suffering for me, right? I mean, if you want to think on a spiritual level, you know, the only Son of God did that for you. Okay? He took on all the suffering and all the pain. So this is nothing. This is minuscule compared to what, you know, my ancestors and what my spiritual beliefs believe in. This is nothing. I mean, and if it's meant to kill me, and that's where just how temporary my life is, if that's how it's supposed to end, then at least I die happy. Okay? At least I die fulfilled. Nobody said it was going to be easy. That's why I try to tell guys, like, look, make yourself comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because life isn't supposed to be easy. And when things get tough, the people that are already comfortable with being uncomfortable, they're unfazed by the little shit that happens. I've got so many of my friends right now who have lived, you know, people I grew up with, former colleagues. They grew up, you know, spoiled for choice. And they go out and they're buying houses and buying cars they really can't afford. When you look at their finances, they're really not there. And that's fine, it's your choice. But then the reality kicks in. Signed a 30-year mortgage at 50, 51, 52 years old, knowing damn well you ain't got no way to pay that thing off early. So now your retirement is kissed goodbye because you got greedy and you want to keep up with the Joneses. And you got the next 30 years you're going to be working, just try to squeeze to get by and hope to God you don't die before that, so that if you die, the bank takes it back and has the ability to sell it all over and make more money off that shit. Friends of mine going out, buying all kind of crazy material items on credit, loans, blah, 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 blah. Signing up for the same thing that most of the people in our country did. You know, I'm a staunch believer in, like, you know, you make your bed, you get to lie in it type stuff. It's not about being mean, it's just real, okay? If you don't make it, you shouldn't be trying to live beyond your means. You know, anything that people saw me living over the course of the last several years, I was able to afford all that. And I used to tell people, like, look, you don't see me going out and taking mad crazy loans on this stuff. It's, you know, as soon as I can afford it, when I've saved the money, boom, I go. Let's do it. I wasn't racking up credit cards and taking out mad crazy loans and, you know, all kinds of mortgages and auto loans and all that crazy stuff. No, cash money. Or running off my debit card, which came right out of one of my accounts. People are going to have to learn. Okay? Sometimes, just like me, the way you have to learn, not related to that particular issue, but these people are going to have to learn the same way. You have to learn by struggling. You're going to have to learn by loss. And it's unfortunate because with those people there, for me, I've been through this before. So I was prepared, although I wasn't prepared to lose my family over it all. I think things from my previous life have already prepared me for the amount of discomfort I was going to feel. A lot of these people, like I said, they're spoiled for choice. They're not ready for it. That's why you see so many people turning around and offing themselves and, You know, these guys that were once the pillars of their family can't handle it anymore, and they're putting a gun to their head. God hasn't put me here to give up. I've certainly been in that position in my life several times already, but God didn't put me here to give up. He put me here to stand up and to keep on moving. And if certain people aren't meant to be in my life, then so be it. All right, so we're about an hour and a half into this hike now. We're just over 3 miles. One of the things I've told people before is, as a general rule, when you're on the road, or if you're urban hiking or something, you can plan it about 3 miles for every hour you go past. On a trail, totally different thing. Because you have to watch, again, people try to keep that pace on a trail, and that's how they get hurt. Because they're only focused forward. They're not paying attention to what's going on around them, what's going on below them, and they get hurt. They're trying to keep some crazy pace. I come out here for the peace. Be able to witness that. The sounds, the sights, all that stuff. And to get the exercise of climbing these damn hills, walking these trails, making sure that your footing and your timing is correct so you're not tripping over things. Now look at those old stone walls. I followed these before. They're just down the road too. And you look at the history of when these were built. These stone walls, if you follow them, they go all the way down and they go across the county, like 1806 or something. I have to look back up again. But yeah, they cover a good portion, coming all the way across the county. I want to say Civil War times, but pretty neat stuff, history. So as I was saying earlier in the video, guys, I don't bother to write any of this down. I don't have anything that I speak about already worked out in my head. I'm giving you guys exactly the same type of things that I'm thinking of when I'm walking the trails. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. Oh, look at that big one there. Whew, look. Broken ankle. But it's the same exact things that I talk about, you know, to myself or think about when I'm out here on the trail. It's ways to work out things in your life. Like, why am I doing this? What is it that I like about this? Oh, hey, look at that. Hey, there's an ADHD moment. Oh, hey, look, sparkly. All that stuff. Oh, almost tripped over that rock. But for me, the trails are nothing more than great therapy. Being out in a wooded trail like this is even better for me than being just doing urban hiking, which is how I started all this years ago. So look at these walls. They even come down here. They split. They come from that where we were at, come down here, split there, go all the way through the woods. It's crazy. Keep following it down. So now we're starting to descend down the side of this thing. And this is where you gotta be careful too. Look, ding, grip. Tripping and falling hazards everywhere. Let's see, there's our trail. So look, I can't tell you again how to get into it. I discovered it all by accident. And it allowed me to become extremely fit. I mean, you put a couple good months of doing this and you know how to dress to make sure that you're sweating and you're getting on the right trails or doing the right amount of miles, you know, every time you go out and you're doing it 2, 3, 4 times a week. I'm telling you now, you will shed a lot of body fat and you will get very, very lean very, very fast. So even now, like I said, guys, it's been 2.5 weeks since I've been out because I got very sick after the last hike I did outside of LA. Extremely sick. And I'm still feeling a certain amount of weakness in my body. You know, still sniffling a little bit now. Get up every morning, still have a cough. But I knew there was a place that I want to hit up today, and this was it. So sometimes you got to push past the shit. Just like you got to push past the shit in your head. You got to push past your emotions. Just like everything in your life is temporary, that stuff can be temporary too. And you can move on and you can heal from it. You can start to get your life back together, and you start building a life that you're extremely excited about, and a life that you can be extremely proud of. Nobody would have ever told me a year ago my life was going to go in the direction that it did, for the good or for the bad. And it got really, really bad. And it sucked. And I wondered what I was going to do. Then I looked back at recent months, and I cultivated a group of really, really good friends who are extremely positive and really genuinely care about where I'm going in life. Take an interest in the things that I take an interest in, not because they're actually interested for themselves, but they're interested for me. I've cultivated a few close relationships. One of those ones that when you see each other, it's a long, hearty handshake or a tight hug type thing. And I've never had that kind of stuff in my life. And you start to appreciate that. You realize, like, in a past life, it was something little. But you look at it now and it's something major. So in closing, guys, I guess I'll just share this with you, okay? I think a lot of people would look at this initially when they watch this video and they're like, oh, everything in life is temporary. Like, that kind of sucks. And it might. If you're not used to making changes in your life and you're not comfortable with that kind of thing. But there's also nothing you can do about it, you know, as far as preventing that temporariness to life. Things are always destined to change, and there's very little that you can control. I mean, you can be one of them, maniacal control freaks who try to keep everything from changing and try to keep people in your life and try to control what people do. I wouldn't advise it because, again, that's kind of crazy thinking. People are going to do what they want to do. People are going to drift in and out of your life. Things are going to change about your life on a constant basis that you're not prepared for and you didn't plan for. But I can tell you this from my own experience several times over, you can build back from it. Men especially have the ability, if you have work ethic and you have a thing called discipline, you have the ability to build back from any catastrophic thing that occurs in your life. I've done it several times now. And I'm to a point now at an older age in my life where I've literally started to let go of some of the pain and the anger and the frustration and the anxiety of my life, and really started to grasp onto things that are much more peaceful and learn to move on with my life. I enjoy little things now, which are really actually great big things. Things that I ignored in my past are things now that I'm taking on and saying, oh, well, this is interesting. This is something different. This is something new. You'd be surprised, okay? Things that I would have had no interest in the last 50 years, I've taken interest in now, and it's not because I'm older or wiser. It's because I realize I was really distracting myself from these things that who knew I would potentially fall in love with and learn to enjoy, because I was distracting myself with other things that were not so healthy. So, just like everything is temporary in your life, that also means you can make change in your life at any given time, because after all, it's all temporary, right? Learn to work through the pain, guys, okay? Don't hang on to that shit. I did it for many, many, many years. It was detrimental to my growth and my ability to move on in life. And I think there were certain people that used to be in my life that found that great for them because they had an ability to control things by me being weak like that. And that's really what it is. You not wanting to face the issues that are in your life that cause you pain and cause you heartache and cause you anxiety and stress and anger and resentment and all the other negative things that could possibly occur in your life. Knowing that those feelings are all supposed to be temporary, but you keep hanging on to them. You being able to work through that stuff and really starting to embrace beauty in your life and things that are very special, as minute as they may be or as small as they may be. You'd be surprised what grows from that. Like I said in the last segment, I have cultivated some crazy relationships over the last couple months in my life with people that I would have never imagined. People I did not know. You take a moment to share your story and they share their stories. Just one-on-one. And next thing you know, you have this amazing friendship or more that you know is going to last for at least a while. It's all temporary, right? But at least you have them in your life for the moment. And they're great support. And it's what you need when you're going through all this stuff. Work through it, guys. Don't hang on to it forever. It's not designed to be forever, remember? It's temporary. If you take anything from it, the things that are temporary, all the things that are temporary in your life, yes, there are things that are going to hurt you. There are things that will anger you. Things that will break your heart. Things that will create anxiety in your life. All that anxiety, all that pain, all that heartache, all that anger, all that resentment, that is also temporary too. And then you get to enjoy life. You guys have a great day. I appreciate you for joining me. If you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you don't, hit whatever button you want. If you want to subscribe, feel free to subscribe to the channel. You know, I'm new at all this, guys. And I'm doing this really under the suggestion of certain people who said, hey, man, you need to share it in the format that you do it for yourself every day. So here we are. And I'm doing the best I can to put these things together for you so you can watch them and you can enjoy as well. And maybe you will get out here on the trail and experience it for yourself. We'll talk to you guys real soon. Thank you. Oh, jeez, almost fell.